The story starts at Camp Pineway, a summer camp in the middle of the forest. The camp owners, Gene and Kathy, are relaxing by the lake. Everything is peaceful, but then they run out of beer. Kathy goes to get more, leaving Gene alone, which is never a good idea in scary stories. When Kathy comes back, she sees something terrible. Gene is dead, and someone stuffed a guitar in his mouth. She runs to the car and locks herself inside. But it's too late. The killer is already there. A knife cuts through the seat, and Kathy is killed. The person who did it is wearing a creepy devil mask. That's when we know this camp will be full of horror. The camp hasn't opened yet. The kids will arrive in 2 days. But the next morning, the camp counselors start to arrive. There are 11 of them, and they used to be campers at this camp when they were younger. Now, they've come back to help the new kids. Their names are Jason, Mike, Claire, Shannon, Isra. Jason is the oldest at 24, but his life isn't going well. He comes back to this camp every year because he doesn't know what else to do. The others tease him, especially because his mom had to drop him off while everyone else drove themselves. Jason feels stuck in life. He doesn't have any real friends, and even his ex-girlfriend Claire doesn't talk to him much. Demi stands out the most. She's a popular social media influencer who loves filming everything. As soon as she arrives, she makes Jason help her record videos. But after filming, she walks away without even saying thank you. Ari is a quiet guy who wants to be a screenwriter. He shows his new story to Shannon, but they're interrupted by Chris and Bobby. Shannon and Chris seem to like each other, but neither one wants to admit it. Chris and Bobby also have a strange connection. Bobby's old stepdad is now married to Chris's mom. They even share a car, which makes things feel a bit weird, but they're still good friends. Jason tries to fit in with the others, but they all say the same thing. "You came back again?" He pretends not to care, but it clearly bothers him. When he sees Claire, she tells him she only came because she recently broke up with someone. If she were still dating that guy, she wouldn't have come. Jason wants to tell her about his life, but there's nothing new to say. He's still the same. Later, Jason checks the camp office and sees no one there. There's just a note saying Gene and Kathy had an emergency and will return in the morning. It asks someone to look after the camp. Jason feels excited. Maybe this is his chance to be a leader. He gives a little speech to the others, but no one really listens. Still, he tries his best. One of the first things he does is collect everyone's phones, since no screens are allowed at camp. After that, everyone starts getting comfortable. Jason teaches Claire how to shoot arrows. He also tells her he was personally invited by Gene and Kathy and believes they are testing him to see if he can handle things alone. Claire just gives a small smile. She doesn't really believe it. Meanwhile, people start pairing up. Bobby tries to impress Demi, but she's already dating Mike. Bobby gets annoyed and walks off. Jason tries to talk to him, but Bobby doesn't even remember who Jason is. Jason reminds him that they've spent 8 summers at camp together. Bobby never paid much attention to Jason. He was always focused on girls. But even that never worked out well for him. Later, Bobby tries to impress Miley by pretending to be vegan like her. But his plan fails and just feels awkward. We also learn something important. Ari is very allergic to nuts. Even smelling them makes him nervous. Now back to the scary part. That night, Demi is alone in her cabin. The killer sneaks in behind her. We don't see everything, but we know she's killed. There's blood everywhere. At the same time, Miley sneaks into the kitchen to eat a burger, even though she says she's vegan. But before she can take a bite, the killer finds her too. This time, we see her head get cut off. It's quick and terrible. Just like that, 2 people are gone. Now it's clear, Camp Pineway isn't just a fun summer camp anymore. It's turned into a scary place where people are getting killed. No one knows who will be next. After a loud noise, Mike ran to help. But the killer was already there and quickly attacked him too. Later, Jason went into Demi's cabin without knocking, like he usually did. What he saw was horrible. Demi was lying on the bed, covered in blood, not moving. Jason got scared and ran through the camp, shouting that Demi was dead. But no one believed him. They thought he was making a sick joke. Jason tried to call the police, but all the phones were missing. Things were getting worse fast. Finally, the group went to see for themselves. Demi's body was gone. but the bloody sheets were still there. Now, they knew Jason was telling the truth. Scared, everyone rushed to the cars to escape, but none of the cars would start. The killer had broken them all. With no way out, they ran into a cabin and locked the doors. Then someone noticed Miley and Mike were missing. They needed help fast. The only hope was the old landline phone in the main building. Jason said he'd go, but Claire didn't want him to go alone. So Jason, Ari, and Ezra went together. When they got there, the phone didn't work. The line had been cut. Then they found something awful in the fridge, Miley's head. The boys panicked and ran in different directions. Jason made it back to the cabin and told the others what happened. But Ari and Ezra didn't come back. Everyone waited, but time passed, and still no sign of them. Noelle had an idea. She liked spooky stuff and suggested doing a seance using a Ouija board to talk to spirits. The others weren't sure, but they joined her anyway. She tried to talk to Ezra's spirit and asked if he was dead. The board said yes. When she asked who killed him, it said, "I don't know." She then tried to talk to Demi's spirit, but suddenly the door opened. Ezra walked in alive, so the seance had been fake after all. Before anyone could say anything, Bobby freaked out and sprayed bear spray in Ezra's eyes. Ezra fell to the ground in pain, but he was okay. But Ari wasn't. The killer had tied him up. When Ari tried to run, the killer stabbed him with a knife that had peanut butter on it. Knowing Ari was really allergic to nuts, Ari died quickly, and the killer dragged his body away. Back at the cabin, Ezra said something shocking. He thought Jason was the killer. He said Jason had taken all the phones, spread panic, and kept wandering off alone. Maybe Jason was mad and wanted revenge. Everyone believed him. They tied Jason up and taped his mouth shut. Then they grabbed kitchen tools and planned to scare a confession out of him. Bobby stayed behind to watch him, but Claire didn't think Jason was guilty. Quietly, she untied him and told him to run before the others heard him. Jason didn't want to leave. He still wanted to help. So they kept moving and found something awful: the dead bodies of Jean and Kathy, the camp owners. Now, there was no one left to save them. Jason told Claire to stay safe while he went back to help the others. The rest of the group had split up, searching for their phones. That's when the killer struck again, this time Noelle. He stabbed her, then tried to crush her head with a rock. But before he could, another person wearing the same scary devil mask appeared. There were two killers all along. The second one took off his mask. It was Mike. Mike and Demi had planned all of this together. They wanted to become famous by pretending they were the only two survivors of a camp massacre. Chris walked in and saw them kissing. He was shocked they were both alive. The others came too and felt relieved. They still thought Jason was the bad guy. Mike and Demi quickly made a plan. Blame everything on Jason. They would kill the others and say Jason did it. They even made a video saying Jason had gone crazy and tried to murder everyone. As Jason came back, Mike attacked him and knocked him out. Then the killing started again. Ezra's leg was broken, and he was killed with an axe to the head. It was the scariest moment in the movie. Chris was next, but Bobby tried to save him by jumping in and fighting the killer. Bobby was brave and risked his life. Claire showed up just in time and helped Bobby. During the chaos, everyone realized the truth. Mike and Demi were the real killers. Claire ran to help Jason, while Bobby fought with Mike again. Their fight was so intense, it set a cabin on fire. Bobby finally stabbed Mike in the neck, ending him for good. Demi tried to get Jason to join her. She said he could be famous too. But Jason didn't care about fame. Just then, Claire came back with a bow and arrow. Demi rushed at Jason with a knife, but he dodged. Claire shot an arrow that hit Demi right in the eye. Even then, Demi didn't die right away. She fought and kicked until she pushed the arrow deeper into her own head. Finally, she was gone. The cabin was on fire. But Jason ran in to save Bobby one more time. He wasn't going to let his friend die after everything. At the end, Chris and Shannon showed up, but what happens to them next isn't clear. The movie ends on a scary and dramatic note. Jason and Claire survive the nightmare, but what comes next is still unknown.